I think everybody thought that really they were underachieving for the size of a club like Arsenal. And they just probably needed a bit of fresh blood, and I was young, probably very, very ambitious. Luckily for me at Arsenal, it all came off, it all worked very well.
George was very, very fair. With every single player, would give you a chance. If you messed up, then he would punish you. He wouldn't have any thoughts of dropping the best player in the team.
It was a very exciting time at Highbury, because George Graham just arrived, and like a new era is starting. It was a great feeling.
So, a new beginning for the Gunners, and George certainly had plenty of reasons to be cheerful about the team he'd inherited from Don Howe.
Yes, there's a nice balance about the side just now. We've got experienced players at the back, like Viv Anderson, Kenny Sampson, who are obviously helping the younger players.
Look at the ball. A bit further. Go on then.
Young Adams at the back is fitted in lovely with those. Wonderful trainer. I think he's a natural leader. A great learner. And I think eventually he's going to captain Arsenal, and I think eventually he will captain England. And you've got young David Rocastle, very exciting, so much raw talent. When he actually keeps on learning, I think he's going to be a very exciting player, not only for Arsenal, but probably for England. And then you've got front, and you've got young Niall Quinn, another one from the Irish connection. And young Niall is coming for a bit of criticism because of his ungainliness. But lovely attitude and training, wants to learn, and I've got a lot of time for him. And then young Martin Hayes, who's obviously he nearly finished up going to Huddersfield a couple of months ago. Martin's come back to prove something to me. He's got Arsenal at heart. He wants to do very well, and as long as he keeps producing the goods and tries to prove me wrong, I'm very, very pleased with him. There were a bunch of wonderful, talented young players. And I just thought now was the time to maybe blood some of them. And along with my purchase and buys from the lower divisions, with a wonderful combination.
Sansom. And Quinn's there, and Adams is there. And it's a goal to Arsenal. They scored anyway. Oh, look at that. That's super football by Arsenal. And Hayes onto a pass by Nicholas. Martin Hayes is going through for Arsenal, and brought down was a yes. Paul Davis, it's there! 2-0 to Arsenal. Martin Hayes is in there. And it's Nicholas. Good save, Nicholas. Goal for Arsenal. What a start. Charlie Nicholas. Hayes, Nicholas, Hayes again, Hayes is through! Oh, that's a lovely goal! And Martin Hayes, no wonder he's smiling.
In his first season, George Graham led Arsenal to the League Cup final. The highlight of the run to Wembley, a 2-1 win over Tottenham at White Hart Lane, and a nail-biting semi-final replay.
I was so committed to trying to get that bit of silverware. And of course we were facing Liverpool, who were dynamic. I was sweating a little bit, I have to say. That was petrified. I was worried in case Rush would score first and we would face the usual Rush who scored and Liverpool won.
Rush, Mulby. That's a great ball. This is Steve McMahon. O'Leary coming across. He's left Rush. It's such a familiar sight. And Arsenal now will be desperately trying to get out of their mind that infernal statistic.
Every time Ian Rush scored, they never lost a game.
The records are there to be broken, and we broke that one that day. But we were aware of it on the day. I remember myself on the days thinking, they started well, Liverpool, and they scored, and again Ian Rush has scored as well. We're in for one then. But we got down, worked hard, and as they turned it round.
Look at them poised. You think it was just out of 100 metres. Davis hit the wall. Sansom, Anderson, Adams, Nicholas, off the post, Anderson, yes, it's gone in, it's Charlie Nicholas has done it.
The first goal, I actually missed a peach of a chance just before it, and I hit the post, and it came back out, and Viv put it back in to the area again, and tap in, and I just remember Tony Adams just about half strangling me in the celebration. I didn't even get a chance to celebrate, I was on the run. And of course I wasn't the quickest, so Tony Adams had kind of wrapped his arms round my throat, and I just remember thinking, we're back in the game.
Sansom. Groves. He's away from Gillespie. Nicholas and Rocastle in the area. Nicholas! Yes! Got a deflection, I think. 7 minutes to go. He's the Bonnie Prince this afternoon.
Sometimes it's just fate. I'm a realist, and it's fate. And I didn't stab the second goal at all. Well, I tried to play it near post, and it hit Ronnie Whelan's heel and deflected by Grobler into the far post. But the Little Woods Cup was a fantastic success for me.
You know, I walked up the steps and I was captain on the day and lifted the trophy, so it was pretty special. Got a lot of stick for wearing those hats. You just won a cup final, beating Liverpool at Wembley, and someone gives you a hat and you immediately put it on.
That was the start of an upward swing, you know, in Arsenal's fortunes. We knew we were on our way. We were a young team, full of outstanding young players who come through the Arsenal system, and plus the young players that I bought from the lower divisions who were hungry.
No one hungrier than beanpole striker Alan Smith, who, when leaving Leicester City, rejected Manchester United and chose instead to join a side that was full of potential.
And they looked like a team that was going places. Ken Fryer, the managing director, came up to Leicester, then took me back to London to discuss terms the next day. And the one thing he always reminds me of is the fact I stopped at Mr. Fryer's house and I got locked in the toilet in the morning. They had a dodgy handle on the bathroom, and I went in. I couldn't get out, and I was, you know, politely trying to knock and didn't want to scream, let me out. But to this day, he always reminds me of that. But I signed, and in hindsight, it was a fantastic decision.
Alan Smith, to me, actually, is a bit of an unsung hero at Arsenal. Finished up top goal scorer with a Golden Boot twice. And I thought he was underrated by a lot of people in the game, but I thought he had a great all-round game.
He was a demanding manager, but once he'd seen your best performance, he wanted to see that every day of the week and every Saturday, really.
The left foot cross coming in! Smith!
Nigel Winterburn came along a couple of months afterwards, Lee Dixon, Steve Bold, so he was building that defence, which went on to become legendary. He had the likes of David Rocastle, bless him, who's now passed away, on the right, who was absolutely fantastic player. Mickey Thomas in midfield, who could run all day, Paul Davies, all these lads had come through the youth set-up. So there was a lot of players who had Arsenal in the heart, you know, and George managed, with the ones that came in, to put that in the heart as well. You know, we're all fighting for the badge, and we had a tremendous togetherness and team spirit and never-say-die attitude, which was instilled in us as Arsenal players.
Arsenal reached a second consecutive League Cup final, but went down to an injury-time defeat against Luton Town. A blow, but the wider picture showed that Arsenal were gradually developing into championship contenders.
Our expectations weren't as high as perhaps other people were thinking. I think the fact that we were playing together for the first time was a bit of a novelty. And obviously some of the players, including myself, had never played in the First Division before, as it was. So yeah, we thought we would do all right, but we never really thought we'd reach the heights that we did.
Thomas as well! Arsenal ahead! Real nip and tuck. Rocastle playing it in! Smith getting in there! Smith, nicely down for Marwood, played down for Merson, and it's another one! 2-0. Chance here, brilliant finish! Struck a fabulous goal by Rocastle. In this for Arsenal. Merson. Oh, that was great work by Butterworth, but still the danger from Winterburn. Yes! Nigel Winterburn gives Arsenal the lead. Smith. What a great effort! Oh, my word, what a goal! Goal of sheer quality by Alan Smith. It wasn't even a half chance. Ball given away by Putney to Smith, and now Rocastle and Thomas is in support as well. Rocastle finds Thomas. That's 3. Merson. Well, oh, messed it up completely, and it breaks for Smith. What
A strange goal, but they all count, and it's Smith's second. Arsenal on the rampage now with Rocastle here. Yes, it's another. 2 in a minute.
With 3 games to go, we only had to win 1 or 2 home matches and then play Liverpool away, and the championship could have been won before we went to Liverpool. When you're going to win the major trophy for the first time for so many years, yeah, you do get hiccups along the way, and that's a test. You know, and tests are there to be met, and you think, right, are we going to collapse? Are we going to, you know, stick our chin up and our chest out? But we faltered, and then we had to go up to Anfield, having to win 2-0, you know, against arguably the best team in the country.
Arsenal had to go to an emotionally charged Anfield and face a Liverpool side in search of their second double in 3 years. With the Kop in full voice, it looked like mission impossible for the Gunners. They were the ones who could be excused for feeling alone.
The onus very much on Arsenal, but a 1-0 Wimbledon-style win is no good to them. They've got to win, and they've got to win well.
Well, no one outside London, or sometimes in London as well, didn't expect us to win.
I think a lot of us deep down, if I'm perfectly honest, we thought, well, we're never going to do it, because Liverpool were a great side, and we were still a young team that had perhaps thrown the championship away. So in that respect, I suppose the pressure was taken all off us, and George was quite relaxed. His team talk before the game was classic, because he said he could just keep it tight for the first half, you know, 0-0 at half-time, nick an early goal in the second half and then win it in the last few minutes. That'd be great. And we all sort of laughed, and it's just ironic the way it happened, and I can still hear his words now saying that before the game.
10 is Steve Bold. Now, a bit of a surprise on a night when you imagine that Arsenal must really attack, that a third centre-back, Steve, has been included.
It was well planned. I mean, the actual players' surprise when a change from what was regular 4-4-2 to a 3-5-2. So we decided to play with 3, Tony Adams, Stevie Bold and David O'Leary, and then Lee Dixon could really push tight in John Barnes, and Nigel Winterburn tight in Ray Houghton. And it worked a treat. You know, I thought it worked superbly, and you take these chances being a manager. If it works and comes off, you're a hero, and if it doesn't, you're a villain.
Well, Bold is up there again. It's Merson on the far side that they're aiming for, but it was Bold's header here for Rocastle, tangling with Whelan. Michael Thomas getting to the byline. This could be danger for Liverpool here. And it's flicked just wide. The header by Bold eluded Grobbelaar. And Arsenal within a whisker of getting the goal they so desperately wanted early in this game.
By half-time, we're still 0-0, and George was still thinking there'd be chances come. You know, it's down to taking them, and you can do this. And that's what happened.
So it's all going according to plan, lads. All we need to do is get a goal, you know, whenever, and then we've only got to get one more, so just make sure you keep a clean sheet.
Winterburn and Richardson behind it. Adams has made a darting little run in there. And Smith! And Arsenal have scored. The Liverpool players are surrounding the referee, asking him to speak to a linesman.
I've spoken to some of the Liverpool lads since, Steve Nicol and Ronnie Whelan, and I always say, well, what were you appealing about? And they said, well, we thought it was either offside or you didn't touch it, so we just thought we'd try our luck, you know. One of the most frequently asked questions people ask me is, did you touch it? And I always say, yeah, I did, I got a good touch. It was just the fact that the flight of the ball didn't change all that much, I just helped it on its way. It was quite tense when they surrounded the ref and the ref went over to the linesman, and you know, it was quite intimidating because you had the likes of Ronnie Whelan bawling in their ear and trying to influence them. So when the ref pointed to the centre circle, that was, you know, a great moment of relief.
Ronnie Whelan looking on there, the goal's been given. And what a game we have now. On to Alan Smith. Ablett's there with him. Merson. Richardson. A chance here. Thomas! And Grobbelaar was able to grab it. There are the signals. Get forward, get forward.
I think the great story from it is when Steve McMahon is putting one finger up, and I can remember that, and I'm sure the lads that played that night, and there's only 1 minute to go, we've lost it. That for the lads must have been, God, when they scored that goal. I still watch it, and I'm disappointed I wasn't there, but I'm pleased for them lads that were actually in the team.
Arsenal come streaming forward now in surely what will be their last attack. A good ball by Dixon, finding Smith. For Thomas, charging through the midfield. Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas, right at the end. An unbelievable climax to the league season.
I remember it like it was yesterday. John Lukic threw it to Lee Dixon, right back position.
And then it went Lee Dixon, Alan Smith, Mickey Thomas.
I went for Bruce Grobbler to make a decision.
I could see Alan Hansen and Steve Staunton closing in, and I'm thinking, Mickey, you got to shoot, you got to shoot. They're going to get a tackle in, but he just released the ball in the nick of time.
You can't really describe how you feel at that moment of time. It's just an elation. It's just, it's an out-of-body experience. You just go crazy.
The ball went in the net, and I just started crying on the pitch, and I just thought, we've done it. And then, before I knew it, Liverpool were kicking off again, and I just kept thinking, well, if they come down my side now, I've had it, because I couldn't see. I was tears rolling down my eyes, and I'm wiping the tears out my eyes, thinking, please. And luckily, they went down the other side, and then, you know, literally seconds, they blew the whistle and started crying again.
Set the final whistle. Arsenal, the champions. A momentous occasion this for Arsenal, coming here requiring a 2-goal lead, and snatched it in the most dramatic fashion in the last minute of the game.
All directors' decorum went out of the window. I sort of jumped out, catapulted myself out of my seat and punched the air. Said, yes! And then I suddenly came down into my seat again, and Peter would turn round to me, took out a cigar, and he said, never in any doubt.
Full time, obviously, it was elation when it was just like pandemonium. We just went crazy.
I burst out crying with emotion. I couldn't believe it. I had my dad and my brother there, and it was great to share with them. It was my son's birthday. It was just a fantastic day. I'd waited so long to get my first championship medal.
I mean, everybody said it was impossible here tonight, but you kept going until the 91st minute.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. We had that bit of luck tonight, didn't we? We got the late goal, and there's no way they was going to come back scoring that late. You know, the lads were really fired up, and I'm very pleased, and the boys have magnificent, played brilliant.
We were all fairly young, and for us, it was our first big trophy, our first big moment in football, but I think we all agreed then that things will never get better than that. Impossible, really, for anything more dramatic to happen.
If there's one thing I think I'm proud of in my managerial career was giving the Arsenal supporters wonderful memories, and probably the best is the Anfield 2-0 victory.
Nothing really can come close to Anfield, 89.
As long as football is written about, spoken about, it will always be there, because it was just one of those very special occasions. I mean, you know, you live for those sort of occasions.
King of all he surveyed, but there was no resting on laurels for George Graham. After missing out in 1990, he brought in some fresh faces. The two most influential being jet-heeled Swedish international winger Anders Limpar and an up-and-coming goalkeeper from Queen's Park Rangers who boasted a very safe pair of hands.
The man is a colossus, really, to be here 13 years. Been fantastic man for the club. As soon as he came, he fit in straight away. Didn't have the ponytail, but he had this crazy laugh, you know, everybody knows him for. But he was a great guy.
Limpar was very important. I thought for the first half of the season, he was probably the most exciting player in the English league. He had flair, he was quick over 5 yards, 2 good feet and a magnificent shot. And on his day, without question, one of the most exciting talents in English football.
George's Arsenal team looked to have the perfect blend of flair and solidity. And there was a team unity that always shone through, whatever the circumstances.
A couple of minutes to go to half-time. And Limpar made a long run to get himself involved, and Keith Hackett has given the goal. Arsenal have stolen a goal here, and the player that they're calling their new match winner, he's caught out Seeley.
Limpar's goal was not the main headline, although he was at the heart of the other central event. This unpunished kick on him by Dennis Irwin sparking a brawl that would ultimately cost the Gunners 2 points.
I can remember how it started. Nigel piled into McClare, a bit of a bad tackle, to be fair. He reacted on Nigel, and then all hell broke loose, you know. But I kind of stood there on the edge and watched it all go on. It wasn't a 22-man brawl. There were a couple of us watching,
wasn't a brawl because no one threw any punches. That was the funny thing about it. Not one person threw a punch, you know. And then all of a sudden we got docked points. And since this day, nobody else has been docked points.
We were handicapped, you know, we're fancy to win the title, and I thought, let's make it more interesting, let's handicap Arsenal more.
I think there was a feeling throughout the club that, you know, those 2 points weren't going to make the difference, and we were going to respond in the right way, and we never looked back.
Dixon from right to left to Limpar. And Southall, Grove scores.
Merson, oh, what a lovely back heel. Smith with a shot, a fantastic goal. 3-0. Long clearance by Davidson. Campbell, great save, Merson. It's 2-0. Now Alan Smith. Campbell. That's the inspiration we've been looking for, and Kevin Campbell has provided it.
The Gunners received a timely boost when Tony Adams returned to the side after a short prison sentence. He was back to lead the team in the Crunch title match at Anfield.
What a good ball. Beautifully finding Peter Beardsley. Barnes has made a great break for Liverpool. Oh, wonderful goalkeeping. Barnes, great save again. Merson. Oh, that's a good ball. Smith playing him back in now for Paul Merson. It's a goal for Arsenal, and Merson has scored it.
Arsenal's record for the season made impressive reading, with just 1 defeat and only 18 goals conceded. The title was wrapped up with 2 games to spare, after closest rivals Liverpool slipped up in an early kick-off on Bank Holiday Monday. It meant the game that evening at Highbury against Manchester United became a championship party, and Alan Smith in particular celebrated.
If we play like Mitchell Thomas here, it's going to be very difficult to get any sense out of anybody in here tonight.
Graham's champions of 1991 had the meanest defence, and now they had one of the hottest strikers in the country. New signing Ian Wright was to become a Highbury legend with his own unique style.
We needed a goal scorer badly. We were relying on Alan Smith a bit too much. And Ian Wright was just a goal machine. You know, great character, wonderful in training. I got on great with him. I love coaching him, even though I didn't teach him that much, because I think it's just a one-off. It's just a natural. And he went on to become a big favourite with the Arsenal fans.
Perry Groves battles to win it off Barlow, and it's a good-looking cross, and he's there. Wright has equalised. Merson. Ian Wright with foot. It's in.
It was true, basically, that if you've stopped Ian Wright scoring, you stop the team, because far too few players, apart from him, you know, myself included, weren't chipping in with goals. We weren't playing with width then, and it was we were playing quite a straight game in straight lines, and we were pretty average in midfield, I have to say. We didn't have much creativity.
I was probably looking around to tinker with the team, and maybe we were definitely short of midfield players, I know that, and I was looking all over Europe to add to it. So without winning the championship so quickly again, we still did well in the cups.
We was always a good cup team, and I don't think we scored many goals, but we always seemed to keep clean sheets, and you know, it was very important that we done that. And I think, I don't know why, but we didn't have a very good record in the league, but in the cups we always seemed to do well. In '93 we won the double, both cups.
Arsenal took up near permanent residency at Wembley that season. Even the FA Cup semi-final against Tottenham was staged there. Tony Adams' powerful header settled the game. Ironically, Sheffield Wednesday would be the opponents in both League and FA Cup finals.
It's Sheridan playing it now for King. Knocked through the middle now. Parks with the shot! And a goal for Wednesday!
Davis chipping that one through.
Merson with a shot. It's in! So it's 1-1. He's gone past Anderson. What sort of cross can he put in? There's a goal for Arsenal by Morrow. Bad mistake by Sheffield Wednesday. Punished to the full by Arsenal. It's victory for Arsenal. Smith for Wright. He's through it. It's Wright for Arsenal. It's a goal for Arsenal. Ian Wright yet again. Wright's jumping with Linnigan. Here's Hurst. This is Parks. Good ball in. Bright. Not quite. What is it? It's in. 1-0. A minute gone at the end of extra time. Added on for stoppages. Merson to take it. Campbell at the near post with Smith. Adams and Linnigan forward. Linnigan's there! It's in! It's there! Andy Linnigan has scored at the end of extra time. Indeed, in stoppage time. Arsenal complete a unique double. The League Cup and the FA Cup in the same season.
To win both, yeah, it was a wonderful achievement because I'd already won both as a player. So I won both as a player and both as a manager. So it was a little bit of satisfaction there.
I was 20 years at the club, just gone the 2nd of May '93, and to bow out at Wembley winning the FA Cup was brilliant. I don't know why, but I ended up coming down the steps at the end, and there was film clips of me bringing the cup down. So I thought it was probably right, but I don't know how it was worked that I did end up coming down with the cup at the end. And that's a great memory. And you walk around the pitch, and every time you walk around Wembley and you win, you should be really happy and delighted because you make, you know, they don't come around very often. But I was delighted but sad because as I was going around, I was getting near that tunnel at the far end. I knew once I went out that tunnel that I'd never put an Arsenal jersey on again. And, you know, it was mixed feelings there. But I thought to myself, what a way to finish.
The following season, Arsenal were on the trophy trail again, but this time in Europe in the Cup Winners' Cup. They beat some of the continent's finest teams en route to the final, Kevin Campbell's goal seeing off the challenge of Paris Saint-Germain. But for the final itself, they would be without their star player and top scorer.
Now Wright trying to get away from Politaire and from Roche, but Roche, who's just back from injury, goes down and, well, is this going to be a yellow card for Ian Wright? I think it is, and that would mean he's out of the final.
And it would be far from plain sailing in Copenhagen, the venue for the final against crack Italian side Parma.
We weren't fancied against Parma because we had injuries, suspensions. Ian Wright was suspended, Martin Keown failed the late fitness test. It was quite a weakened side. They had Zola, Thomas Brolin, Asprilla. They had the whole of Italy's defence, I think.
But for 20 minutes, we were right under the cosh. But once we scored, we knew we were going to win. We knew we were going to win.
Smith. Dixon. Straight to Smith. Oh, he scored! Arsenal are on the way! It's Alan Smith!
It was a left foot volley from just on the edge, and I was just unsighted for moments, and once the keeper had made his dive and he'd landed, and I saw that the ball was over in the other corner, so it had hit the inside of the post and gone in, and it was a great moment. It really was.
It was just constant pressure for 90 minutes, but we shut them out, and that was not many teams did that against Parma.
One of the most wonderful nights in the rich history of one of England's most famous football names. Tony Adams lifts his 5th trophy as maybe the best Ivory captain of them all. Only the second Arsenal skipper ever to lift a European Club Cup.
Tony Adams always looks at that performance that night and says, You know, that was the peak of that back four. They were absolutely superb. Steve Bold in particular was majestic. That was when the 1-0 to the Arsenal was born, because if we scored, we wouldn't let a goal in. The defence then was at its peak.
Why they're so effective? Because George Graham worked on, when he first came to Arsenal, he used to work on the back four. His famous saying was, the back four players can play till they're 40, but the midfield players have played till they're 30. So we'll be burnt out doing all their running. And not a true word said there.
I think they all stayed there for over 10 years, each of them, you know, including David Seaman. I mean, it's a wonderful achievement, and they should be proud of it.
Each one of them were winners, outstanding individuals, and desperate to win, and seemed to go on forever at one stage. And I'm sure, you know, they'll be remembered at this club forevermore. Their biggest asset was their ambition and their desire. They wanted to be good players, you know. So it was very easy to sort of make them, you know, 5 individuals, make them into a unit. And I don't think you'll probably see a unit as good as that again in English football.
In February 1995, George Graham's reign as manager came to an end after financial irregularities came to light, leaving Stuart Houston in caretaker charge.
Well, get on with it there. Let's get on with it, Andy.
We've had some good times over the last few years, and he's been a magnificent manager for us. I think the important thing now is to get on with football. We're still in a very big cup for Arsenal. If the supporters can kind of put the managerial kind of thing to the back of their mind and get behind the team, that's what the players kind of want, get behind the team and try and put another trophy on the side.
That trophy was the Cup Winners' Cup, as Arsenal travelled to Paris to try and become the first team ever to win it 2 years in succession. Their opponents were from Spain, Real Zaragoza.
Go, Messi!
Went short with Pardesa. Naeem again. Aguado. Oh, what a save by Seaman! Well, is there no end to this man's heroics in this Cup Winners' Cup run? He had a little bit of luck, but my goodness, he earned it. Terrific save from Aguado's header.
I was so upset, you know, I've been crying and things, but it just hurts me so much to lose. You know, it's the first time that it's happened with Arsenal that we've lost in a final. You know, there's not a great deal I can say, you know, without start crying or whatever, you know, it just hurts.
Have you got a cat you can keep when you get home?
No, I've got a dog. No, but she'll be all right.
It's a transition period, and it's a period of change. You have to work with the players, get to know the players, understand the players, find out their strengths and weaknesses, but impose your own style of play within the club. That's why I was appointed.
The summer of 1995 saw former Bolton manager Bruce Rioch take over at Highbury. His first moves in the transfer market were encouraging ones. Former England skipper David Platt arrived from Sampdoria in Italy, and Dutch master Dennis Bergkamp came from Inter Milan. Both were to have a decisive impact.
Bruce made 2 important signings, particularly with Dennis Bergkamp, which was one of the first overseas players to come in, and his contribution to the club, I mean, with his skill, his technique, really gave the club a bit of extra class.
I came from Italy where it was quite slow, of course, quite tactical, and here it's more an attacking game, so everything went quite fast, and it took me a little while to adapt.
Bergkamp onto right. Now he's lifted it beyond Lukic. Breathtaking. The perfect finale to just about a perfect afternoon for Arsenal. Good goal, David Platt.
Hartson, Merson wants it back, he gets it back. Bergkamp is free! And Arsenal have scored a magnificent goal here at White Hart Lane. Jensen. Right. It was a good turn, 4 players around him, and he's still scored. That captain's armband maybe providing extra inspiration.
He cared a lot about the players, but he tried to be a manager who could go and put his arm around people and things like that. The one thing he did want to do, I mean, he always wanted to play football, regardless. You know, he wanted to come. It wasn't going to be like long ball stuff and get up and chase it, and none of that type of thing. He wanted people to actually get the ball down and play.
Rioch had helped restore pride at Highbury, and he also guided the team to a UEFA Cup position after some last-day drama coming against his former club, Bolton Wanderers.
After all this, are Arsenal going to miss out on the final day? The chance of going back into Europe. Platt! The goal is given, but will it be enough? Platt, Bolton looking weary now. Bergkamp! Well, if that takes Arsenal into the UEFA Cup, it was the perfect goal.
I've been playing all season for this, to get into Europe, and finally we got it, and that's such a relief, and it's such a great feeling in that moment that you're finally there. It's brilliant.
That's what Dennis was going to do anyway. Don't know what's all the bother.
Well, what can I say?
We said to Dennis, give us a sign.
We said to Dennis when he signed, don't care what you do, just get us the win on the last game of the season, get us in Europe, and he did it. And he missed it as well.
He's the Messiah. And we just said, give us a sign, and he said that's the sign.
Some great goals and moments to treasure, but the club knew there was someone eminently suitable for the top job at Highbury. The French Revolution was about to begin.
When George Graham had left, that we had the hiatus period where Stuart Houston took over, and I remember Arsene Wenger had come over and was actually staying at my house, and he'd come to see a game, and I felt that he would have been the right man for Arsenal, and I discussed it with the board, and of course it was decided that perhaps it was a bit too much of a gamble at the time. When we decided that we wanted a change after Bruce Rioch, I was perhaps a little bit more forceful than I'd been before with the board and said, look, this man is special. He deserves an opportunity and a chance.
Big history, big tradition, big club, and big support, and all that together, of course, makes usually a job attractive, especially when you're a manager. And I felt as well that I could maybe bring a different touch to a traditional English club, and that the marriage could work.
But there were plenty of doubters who predicted a swift divorce, suggesting that the Arsenal board were embarking on a dangerous liaison.
Well, it was very difficult because he was unknown. I had the good fortune of knowing him and seeing him at close quarters. And he was highly respected, and he was there for the best part of 8 years in Monaco, because every time I used to go to Monaco, I'd see him, he'd invite me to the games, I'd see how he handled the players, how he handled the press.
I always remember Mr Dean, we had a meeting, all the players, and he said, well, we've got a new manager now, it's Arsene Wenger, and everybody looked at each other thinking, we've never heard of that name.
Immediately thought, it's my geography teacher. He just looked like my geography teacher at secondary school, and I thought, OK, fine.
And everybody said Arsene who, but I think you've only got to meet him to realise that he's a fairly exceptional character as well.
He'd come into the club and it was like a breath of fresh air, really. You know, everything changed, the attitude changed in training, you know, a little bit of diet before games and things like that, and you know, it turned the club around really. And
there was a lot of scepticism. Don't forget it. I was top of a betting list to be out before December. So in some way, it motivated me even harder and more to show the level to work here.
Straight away, we stretched differently on the first day. We trained differently on the first day. We stretched after training. We stretched before we got in our cars to go home. If he would have come home and stretched us at home if he could have done, but it was just totally different. And you know, a lot of the older players were really open-minded because I think we realised that he could do us a lot of good and extend our careers, which is what he did.
Trying to search out Hartson, who won it. A magnificent goal by the irrepressible Ian Wright. Arsene Wenger now down to watch the second half from the dugout. Speaks 5 languages, has a degree in economics and a diploma in business studies. Just your average Premiership manager.
I thought it was a team of quality with a very short period of life, because I had 8 players around 30 or over 30. I had David Platt, Paul Merson was 29 already, and Ian Wright up front, who was a major figure as well in the club, who was already 32, so it was not easy.
AC Milan's 20-year-old Patrick Vieira was a virtual unknown in this country, but Wenger recognised his potential.
He likes to win and he's ready to fight to win. And that's why maybe he has been so well accepted by the fans also, because he has shown from the first game on that he wants to win the games and that it just doesn't come to show that he has some skill.
Vieira, that's a good run from him. And it's a useful pass too, because it's put Ian right in for the opening goal. A cracker from the captain. And Vieira stretching away here. And it's Lee Dixon. The goalkeeper's positioning was a little strange, and Dixon had plenty to aim at. Looking round for support. He's got it from Merson. Paul Merson with an absolute beauty for Arsenal. Already signs of Arsenal looking more positive in these early minutes of the second half. Bergkamp dragging the ball back. Still Bergkamp. Well, it's an exquisite goal from a player who is really in peak form at the moment. Winterburn with the corner. In goes Martin Keown. It drops for Vieira.
Arsenal finished a very healthy third in Wenger's first season, but the manager wanted more. Teenager Nicolas Anelka came from PSG as a raw recruit, while the more experienced Manu Petit and Marc Overmars further strengthened an impressive squad. Everyone was hopeful of success as the 1997-98 season began.
No, there's a lot of great determination. The lads are willing to battle, and that's exactly what happened in '91.
If I could get a Premiership medal, I just don't know, I think I might cry for something like a week or something and carry it around with me, just in case people don't realise I've got one.
It was a
record is equal. No one more than Ian Wright himself. He is now Arsenal's all-time greatest goal scorer.
Everywhere I was going on the street, people were saying, are you going to do it this week? Are you going to? And I really would have liked to have done it here at Highbury. We've had some fantastic times. The fans have been great to me from day one. I know everybody's heard it all before, but I have to say, they've been fantastic, and I think they even sucked the goals in for me today. It's brilliant.
Wrighty was an outstanding individual. I thoroughly enjoyed playing with Ian. It was a pleasure, really. He's such personality. It was a laugh a minute. He was a volatile individual, but once he got in the penalty box, he was so relaxed in front of goal. Probably the best out-and-out finisher I've worked with.
I think it's pure talent, and I know he works hard. He worked hard for it to achieve those goals.
Dennis Bergkamp provided a few spectacular moments himself in what turned out to be one of the greatest seasons in Arsenal's history. His moments of inspiration lit up English stadiums, never more so than when scoring the goal of...
Bergkamp. Arsenal sending out very heartwarming signals here to their supporters. They've got another one. Marc Overmars. Vieira. Winterburn. Oh, what a goal! Nigel Winterburn may well have won it here at Stamford Bridge for Arsenal. Wright's header down. For Overmars, who's got such acceleration. Shooting into the crowd, but it spins away for Nicolas Anelka. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! From the 18-year-old, his first for the club, the deputy for Dennis Bergkamp.
Sent towards him, as you would have expected.
Manchester United came in November, but the critical game of the campaign was a high-noon showdown at Old Trafford in March. The Gunners had clawed back a mighty Manchester United lead in the league, and victory here would put Arsenal in pole position.
Overmars, and that means problems for Manchester United. Marc Overmars still going.
Well, he's been the threat, hasn't he?
Able to come to the edge of the goal area and get to it and kick, and Andy Cole goes on straight from the goalkeeper. That has finally delivered.
I think it was very decisive. I mean, if you look, we hadn't won there for a number of years. The belief started to come into the team.
You get the belief, then you know, the fans knew. I mean, we all saw their reaction, of course. The fans knew that that was it. We could do it.
You know, now we have won it, basically. Because when we came out in the dressing room on that day, I felt personally that nobody can take it away from us now. The players were convinced they will win it, and I felt it will be very difficult to take it away from us.
Winterberg. There's only one player who can chase this, and how he can chase it. It's Anelka. Could it be 4 for Arsenal? It can! And Seaman comes out and keeps the ball in play, does it? No flag. And no flagging from the Gunners. Here's Nicholas Anelka. Overmars. Now Pires. This the moment it is! He's finally got a goal for Arsenal. And Seaman claims that he started it all. Arsenal, the cream of the crop. What an extraordinary way to win the title. Against the toughest straight wins, they've absolutely roared to the title. They've collected 48 points out of 54. At Christmas, no one would... And this is a very special team, managed by a very special man. You're looking at the pick of the Premiership, the pride of the Premiership, Arsenal Football Club.
We've got a good squad, and the squad has gone on to outwin the championship, and that's what it's all about. Team effort, great team effort.
Everybody said Arsenal didn't have a chance to come back, and we worked so very hard. I think it's a very great performance for all the players, for everybody who support Arsenal.
What's this? Hey! Where'd that come from?
When we looked at the table, 13 points behind Man United, I think we had to do something, unbelievable. And as you say, 10 straight wins, is a good start. And obviously the 10th one's won us the title.
You've done it in style as well, which is nice. You know, it's all the critics we've always had all over the years, and I think we've done it the right way.
Arsenal now had the chance of the double as they took on Newcastle in the FA Cup final. In 1932 and 1952, the Geordies enjoyed good fortune against the Gunners at Wembley, but in 1998 it was to be a case of third time lucky for Arsenal.
Petit. Adams almost in too much of a hurry then, but Newcastle allowed him the extra time on the ball. Petit's pass, and it's Overmars. He's past Pistoni! And Arsenal have taken the lead! Lee Dixon who got to it for Arsenal. Vieira's header, Parler. There's no flag, and it's Anelka. No catching him, maybe no catching Arsenal now. Stoppage time. It's a dream double for Arsenal.
The 98 double side was a great team. I think, everybody knew their jobs. The main reason that we had that stability in the team was that, we more or less played every game, the same team. And we was very lucky. We didn't get many suspensions, injuries. I think everybody knew their job, and it was exciting times for us. And, that was probably one of my best moments in my career, winning that double, especially at Wembley, winning the FA Cup.
The presentation from the Duchess of Kent. Simply awesome. Tony Adams and his team, they have done the double. They are Arsenal!
The double and, just doing it in such style. I mean, above all else, we've played football, which Arsenal fans had not seen before, the quality, the speed.
It was a big thing for me because I could show that the foreign manager can win the championship, and the fact that it was me, of course, I was very proud to achieve that. And to do the double, if you look at the history in England, has not been done too many times. So I was, of course, very pleased and very happy.
After the double success of 1998, English football became a head-to-head contest between Arsenal and Manchester United. Always fierce rivals, the games were intense occasions with the managers as much as the players competing for supremacy. And in these matches, the Gunners' boss enjoyed some great moments.
Adams comes forward, Keown comes forward. In towards Adams! Arsenal have a lead that they thoroughly deserve. They've begun brightly here, and now they've scored. Giggs. Going very open at the moment.
And we don't want half-time now, Mark. The game's flowing.
No offside. Nicholas Anelka. Schmeichel there again. Anelka there again. 2-0 to Arsenal. And Nicholas Anelka, a very, very happy young man. Overmars. And he knows where Parler is. He had a look to see where Bergkamp was trying to get. Overmars again. Hughes. Oh, it's a bit lucky. He didn't aim for Ljungberg, but he's found him. And what a way to start your Arsenal career.
Arsenal just missed out on another title, the only team in the country coming close to threatening United. Arsenal fans could take comfort from the knowledge that their side was playing the Premiership's most attractive football. And in the summer of 1999, their dazzling squad was strengthened by the signing of Thierry Henry from Juventus.
He's a great striker, maybe one of the top 3 in the world. He was a winger when he came here, and I moved him into the central attack. And at the start, of course, he wasn't convinced he could score goals, but he scored a few things.
Probably the most complete player I've ever played with. He's got skills, he's got pace, he's got strength, he's got everything you need now in the game, and that's what makes him a great player now. He makes it look so easy as well, and he's still got a future in front of him.
Melchiot. It's a finely judged challenge by Tony Adams. On from Bergkamp for Henry. Desailly is brushed aside by Henry. And you don't see that happen very often.
Thierry Henry, though, was not the only scorer in a season of impressive strikes, particularly in the UEFA Cup, where Arsenal went all the way to the final.
It's Winterburn. Oh! Well, that is Nigel Winterburn's first goal in Europe, and it's fabulous. Oh, Kanu. Wonderful finish, smiles all around Highbury. Gunning. Here's Parler. It's bending, it's in! Petit. And Overmars. He's given the green light here. He's got Kanu with him. And Arsenal are surely in the final now. Unselfish work from Mark Overmars, and now those Arsenal fans can start making their plans for Copenhagen. Here's Parler. It's a bit of a miss kick by Bergkamp. Overmars had a look to see what was on in the centre, went for goal himself, and Taffarel, my goodness, needed to stop that. Henry. Now the turn of foot from the Frenchman. Keown! What a chance! Parler worked it wide well this time. It's Henry! Taffarel has kept it out somehow. Brilliant ball from Parler. Not tonight for Thierry Henry. Popescu can win it here for Galatasaray. He's done it!
Defeat on penalties again in a European final, and little consolation in a second consecutive runners-up spot in the Premiership. United still held the upper hand over a season, but nonetheless there were moments against them to cherish.
Henry! What a goal! Inspiration for Arsenal from Thierry Henry.
Have a look at...
Heskey losing out. Vieira won it. Ljungberg into Thierry Henry. He's got round Westerveld. It's Henry! What a chance now. He's claiming handball against Honcho at the near post. Oh, that wasn't some of Westerveld's best clearance. Pires. Ljungberg making the break, perfectly timed. Round the goalkeeper, free Ljungberg! The first goal of the Cardiff Cup final is scored by Arsenal's Frederick Ljungberg. McAllister takes. Still not clear. Barber trying to reach it. Owen! Owen stretching his legs and getting away from Dixon and getting his shot away. That's there. That is just absolutely fantastic. He has won the cup for Liverpool all by himself.
More cup final heartache for Arsenal, and yet again so close to the honours their play deserved. But despite the players' disappointments, they were determined to come back even stronger.
It's all credit to everybody at the club who kept believing and kept going, because it's very difficult to keep people together when you don't win trophies. And we'd lost Anelka, we lost Overmars, we'd lost Petit, all from the 98 team. And it was very important that we won something this year, otherwise potentially we were going to lose people again.
But the big story of summer 2001 was the signing of Sol Campbell from Spurs. The England centre-half adding strength and stability to a side ready to turn potential into achievement.
I wanted to instill that belief again into the team that, of course, we could fight, change some things and come back with a stronger challenge this time, and I think it was the right things to do.
Throughout the season, Arsenal's football was simply breathtaking. The team was a delight to watch, full of flair and flamboyance, with a steely edge which made them no pushovers for anyone. The Arsenal faithful had the hottest tickets in town, and no one enjoyed the football more than one of the club's all-time greats, now the academy director, Liam Brady.
I'd love to play with Vieira alongside me and Henry up front. I think I would have enjoyed that. Henry, if you can deliver the ball in the right area at the right time, he's unstoppable. Ashley Cole, who we're very proud of from youth development, he's turning into a world-class fullback. Strength of Sol Campbell. Pires, great invention, great creativity. Of course, Dennis, I suppose he's reaching the end of a very beautiful dinner. We're on the suite with Dennis, aren't we? But he still comes up with the goods regularly, and he's been a great player to watch for someone like myself, and I'm sure for all the Arsenal fans.
Wiltor, Bergkamp, lovely, Pires, and surely Wiltor for 2-0. Pires, Bergkamp, Henry. Pires must be now. Jeffers!
And here come Arsenal. And Pires! Well, that's a shock to Sullivan and to Spurs.
There's a mistake here by Gary Neville. Pires. Ljungberg.
Freddie Ljungberg against Manchester United again. And Arsenal on the move here. Lauren! Wiltor makes a run ahead of it. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Davies Ass totally stranded. Ljungberg. Martin trying to get back against Pires, who's left him and left Schmeichel. That is an outstanding goal from a magnificent player, enjoying the season of his life. Robert Pires. Perfect.
Pires' sensational form was one of the season's many highlights, but a knee injury robbed him of his part in the run-in, including the FA Cup triumph over Chelsea at the Millennium Stadium.
Hasselbank still battling on manfully despite his injury. Good Johnson. Oh, it was dipping in until David Seaman did his stuff. Adams. It's good work by Wiltor. And Ray Parlour takes it on. Parlour! It's a vintage FA Cup goal for Arsenal.
It was one of them games where, you know, it was a lot of tackles and a lot of not flowing football really. And I seemed to get the ball. I always remember I got the ball halfway line, kept running. To be quite honest with you, I looked round and no one was about to pass it to because everyone was feeling a little bit jaded. And I think I looked round and I thought, you know, why not? And I had a go and it seemed to go in. And, it was a great moment in my career, scoring in an FA Cup final, and I was very proud.
Edu. Arsenal know what can happen if you don't get a second goal. Remember last year, Ljungberg, he's got the better of Terry. Freddie Ljungberg! Arsenal have produced two absolute stunners.
As soon as Freddie started running, I thought, he's got to hit this. I could see Cudicini start diving, I thought he's going to get nowhere near this. As he dived, he realised it was in because he went, oh, in mid-air. So I thought, right, I'm off. I thought he'd run the way Ray ran, but he didn't. He ran the other way, so I ran off on my own, sort of celebrating. But it was good fun. I think I've had more comments about that than when I played in '98.
This year, Arsenal get their hands on the FA Cup.
Another pivotal day in the story of Arsenal. The title and the club's third double rested on a potentially epic showdown at Old Trafford. As usual, the game was not just about the players. The two managers were by now renowned for their psychological battles, which both seemed to relish.
I think it's part of the ingredient of good preparation for the game to get everybody excited. So I enjoy it, and I think everybody loves it here. It's always a little game, a little gamble going on, and everybody's used to it now. And I think if it wasn't happening, people would miss it.
It was a great game at Old Trafford. You know, we just felt it was going to be our year, and we weren't going to settle for second best.
That's for Kanu to play from the start. Ray Parlour back on the right, and Wiltor! What a chance, and what a block! Parlour, mistake by Silvestre. Wiltor has got... Arsenal have scored yet again in the Premiership, and this could be the most crucial goal of all.
Well, beating United anytime, anywhere is always rather gratifying, but that was a tremendous performance because we always have a pretty strong battle against United, and winning there was about as good as it gets.
I can't believe it, they're nearly there. Supporters and players alike.
Paul Durkin looks at his watch. History in the making for the club from Highbury. Taken the title away from Manchester United, and they have done it here at Old Trafford. It does not get more conclusive. Arsene Wenger's team, every bit as good as the manager's words. He had no doubts.
But it has been special as well because then they won it on the day at Old Trafford, and of course it was fantastic. And on that year, I think things we have never been highlighted enough. We played the whole season without losing in away games. In the modern football, that is something amazing, and there's never been highlighted enough. You need to be a special team to achieve that.
And Tony Adams sets forward. Arsenal, in the end, very conclusive champions. The Premiership and the FA Cup will be proudly on show side by side at Highbury. The scourge of second place has ended 3 years in a row in the Premiership, and of course in the FA Cup a year ago. Runners-up in that UEFA Cup 2 years ago. But this Arsenal side have graduated with a double first. They have played splendid football to become the most successful side in the land in the season 2001-2002. And with the shirt on, Robert Pires. It was cruelly cut short, but a breathtaking season. The footballer of the year. And they pay homage, his teammates. Oh, that's wonderful. I've never seen anything like that before.
No. I mean, I thought he had a great season. That just typifies what these players, his teammates, nothing will feel better for Robert Pires.
And here's the orchestrator of this awesome season. Arsene of Arsenal. It's firework time, and they have provided so many fireworks throughout the season. Arsenal Football Club.
Amidst the joy and celebrations, Arsenal legend Tony Adams decided to bow out at the top. Had there ever been a more influential captain?
He was hugely inspirational because he's a boy who was a pure Arsenal player, had a strong personality and a strong influence within the club.
Tony used to spur us on because he used to get the rave reviews every week about how good he played, and we used to just take the mickey out of him saying, well, he's not really that good to play with. But it can't be a coincidence that he's been at the top of his trade for how long he was, captain in his country and captain of such a great club, because he is a top-class defender.
Tony Adams, where do you start with Tony? He's an outstanding leader, outstanding player, knew his role in the team very well. But, you know, first and foremost, he's a winner, and he was a big Arsenal man, and he set certain standards at the club, and he, wanted everybody else to maintain those standards.
The trophies just kept on coming for Arsenal in 2002. Thierry Henry picked up the Golden Boot after hitting 24 Premiership goals.
Well done.
And unsurprisingly, Arsene Wenger was named Manager of the Year. In the eyes of Arsenal fans, he's one of the greatest ever.
Arsene Wenger has transformed the club, there's no doubt. I call him a miracle worker, and he has done just that. He's worked miracles for the club.
He has delivered everything he's promised. He's restructured the whole of the playing side of the business. It's very solid. We've got a lot of good youngsters coming through. He has been able to find world-class players. In the main, they were relatively unknown. Now they're world-class stars. And that's down to Arsenal.
Who's won 2 doubles? Who came close to winning 3 doubles? And we've always been challenging for cups or championships. It's fantastic what the man's done. Absolutely fantastic.
There's a calmness. There's no ranting and raving from the sideline. That's not the style. He creates a certain environment that you're comfortable to talk when you want to talk, you're comfortable to pass the ball when you want to pass the ball. And people take that into their game every week.
He is very conscious of the way the club has operated for more years than we've all been born. And I think he's also secretly very proud of being involved with us. And we're certainly proud to have him.
I'm very proud of it because I think it's a responsibility of a manager as well to work for imminent results and quality of a championship and the cups, but as well another, maybe a darker or less in the spotlight job is to push a club to a higher level where it was when you arrived. And I think that's what we have.
Arsene Wenger has raised the standards at Highbury higher than ever. Premiership eluded Arsenal. The players didn't finish the season empty-handed, as the FA Cup provided more great moments to savour.
Edu. 2 up with him. Wiltord. Good chance for Arsenal. There's still and Wiltord. And Arsenal go 2-0 up. And Wiltord, whose goal here ensured Arsenal won the Cup and League double last season, is on the mark at Old Trafford again. Page again, the chance to hook it in, and it's not gone in. How did it stay out? Osama can't believe it. He can't believe it.
Parlour. On the periphery of the game so far, which is unlike him. Henry for Bergkamp. They put it together right here. It's Freddie Ljungberg. It's Robert Pires. It's 1-0 Arsenal.
This could go anywhere off Lindick Marman, off Ljungberg. Unfortunately for Southampton, unfortunately for Arsenal, it drops straight to Robert Pires. Pretty good finish.
Certainly with David Seaman involved, you can say the FA Cup is in safe hands. It is heading back to Highbury.
But there are moments, magic moments, where everybody's on the same wavelengths and the communication, the connections within the team work well, everybody's together, everybody moves together, and you play that kind of football we would dream to play for 90 minutes. It never happens for 90 minutes, even in the best games. But you live for these moments, and that they make you happy.
The players seem to enjoy playing. And I can remember there's been instances in the dressing room whenever, you know, they've come and said, listen, regardless, we keep playing the same way as we want to play, and don't go hoofing the ball along and all of that kind of thing. You know, we play our way and that's it. And it's a joy to watch them. It really is.
They're just phenomenal, aren't they? I just love watching them. To me, it's a pleasure watching people that can play football, and they play with such panache, and, you know, from one end to the other in a matter of 7 or 8 seconds. It's just amazing.
We played some breathtaking football, and it's been a real pleasure. I wouldn't have liked to be on the other side, but it's been a real pleasure to sit and watch it.
There are times where, for 20 minutes, they're one of the best teams I've ever seen play, any time in my football life. But there's 20-minute spells now with Arsenal where you go, Jeez, look at that.
In my charge at Arsenal, we were a domestic club side. They're now a world club side, and they've got world-class players in the team. And the football they play is very, very exciting. It's exciting to watch. It's, when they're on form, it is, you know, it's as good as anything you'd see, you know, in the world, never mind Europe.
This must be the best Arsenal team that we've ever seen, you know. I can't remember the 30s when Herbert Chapman was involved, but we have a world-class team now, probably 4 or 5 world-class players in the team. And they play such wonderful football, and I think if you're an Arsenal fan at the moment, you're very, very lucky.
I would like to win everything and to play the best football ever and to keep everybody happy. So you would want to achieve perfection.